for joining us. Look, that chat section is open specifically for your guys' engagement. We're going to field all these questions at the end of the call, or at the end of the presentation here, or the conversation that we're about to have, but ask them throughout, okay? We have Steve and we have Richard sitting in the background answering some questions as you ask them, but all the good ones, all the meaty ones that we really want to get into a discussion, we're going to get to at the end. Why don't we get started? So, my name is Alex. I'm co-founder CEO here at Sales Boomerang. On with us today is Larry Masino from Annie Mac. You see him in the corner. Oh, he's in my corner with the light shining on him. He's angelic right now. This, by the way, is his brainchild. This is the beauty of this presentation. Larry and the Annie Mac team believe so much into supporting their team. Okay, not the bottom line of the company, but how to build a team that's supported and create efficiencies, and how to use technology to support the human side of the business, right? So important, and the way they've done it is brilliant. The fact that Larry wanted to share this with the world, wanted to share their process and the results they've been getting, and the challenges that everyone is facing is phenomenal. So Larry, thank you so much for bringing us all together for this.
Hey, listen, man, thank you guys for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Oh man, our pleasure, our honor.
Normally the man behind the curtain, so you know.
Nah, you're a good front man.
It's new for me.
So Chris, we have Chris from MIQ, an incredible technology company in the mortgage industry, just phenomenal. And the magic that they've done with Annie Mac and with and partnering with us as well. Can't wait to share with you what they've done and what they're doing constantly. The customization that they offer, the technology, the support, it's just phenomenal. So Chris, thank you so much for joining us for this.
Great to be here, Alex.
Awesome. So let's jump into it, guys. A real quick introduction for those of you that don't know who Sales Boomerang is. We're a borrower intelligence company. We wear our mission on our shirts and in our hearts. It's no borrower left behind. This is a mission for us where every borrower can feel confident that their lender has their back at all times and is looking out for them. In an environment like today, specifically, one of the things that we're helping companies like Annie Mac do is prevent as many of these EPOs as possible, right? So we're rolling something out. I wanted to share here. This is the first time people are going to be hearing about it, is an EPO prevention alert. So like you'll get that, it'll be above everything else. But that's just a little example of what borrower intelligence means. It's about understanding the people in your database and supporting your loan officers by giving them information about their borrowers that need their help right now. So that's a little bit about Sales Boomerang for those of you.
No truer words have ever been said. It's truly no borrower left behind. It really is an amazing platform.
Thank you so much, Larry. And then Chris, why don't you share a little bit about MIQ for everyone?
All right. So first, I'm the old guy in case you didn't notice, but so I've been doing this for over 25 years. So Alex, do we have anyone in the audience that's under 30? Do you know?
Yeah, let us know. If you're under 30, put it in.
Yeah, let us know, because I can now say that I was doing this when you were in diapers. So, you know, for what that's worth. So we like to say that we provide, you know, solutions and technology. Those are kind of boring words, but I like to think that we like to innovate and partner with our clients, especially to give them really a highly configurable and tailorable system for what they're trying to accomplish. And if you guys have CRM out there, a lot of times you just find that brick wall. Larry can attest to this. He and I have spent probably thousands of hours back and forth on tailoring. So it's a tailored suit. It really is. And it has to be that way in order to pull off what we're about to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, when we were out searching for, you know, a new CRM solution, you know, but when we came across you guys, you know, it was obvious that it was a lot different than the out-of-the-box thing that you get from every single different type of CRM platform. You know, the boutiqueness and the ability to customize at an enterprise level from top down is really unmatched. Like you know, your team, we always have at least 3 or 4 concurrent projects going on where we're able to build things to suit us, our organization, exactly the way we need. And that terrible approach is not something you find out of most CRM providers.
Right.
It really is. It really is phenomenal. And look, when Chris just mentioned, you have to customize to create the results that you're about to see, he's 100% right. You guys are about to see what customization looks like. And so here's our agenda for today, guys. We're going to go over some pain points and some challenges. We're going to follow that by some solutions and results. And really, really exciting, and everyone needs to stick around for this, the success stories from the combination of how AnnieMac culturally, philosophically runs their company to the technological support they give is just amazing. And the success stories are going to speak for themselves. It is just something remarkable to see. So make sure you stick around for the success stories. And right after the success stories, we're going to get into the Q&A part. So make sure you're asking questions throughout the presentation. Anything that's on your mind, ask Chris, ask Larry, ask me, ask in general. That way we can get to those questions. And I'm sure if you have it, there's a lot of people that are going to have that same question. So make sure you ask it. Okay. Look, let's jump into it. So the very first thing we're going to jump into is the pain. Okay. 14-hour workdays. Okay. This is what your loan officers are experiencing. And Larry has done a fantastic job breaking it down. This is a breakdown. So Larry, how did you come up with this breakdown of a day?
I mean, you know, I've been working in sales for a long time. I was a former loan officer back when it was easy and money was falling out of the trees, and, you know, 2008 happened. So, you know, I sat in the seat. I understand from a loan officer level what it takes to do your job every day. And, you know, if you're to listen to every different department, you know, and your mortgage coaches that are out there, you know, they have you work in your past client database. You're prospecting, you're trying to call on new agents, you're looking for listing, you know, new listing agents, you're going to open houses, setting appointments, going face-to-face meetings, let alone entering your loan applications, credit pull, running DU. You know, there's a zillion screens inside of Encompass, which is what we use, that a loan officer needs to fill in. I mean, you know, there's a lot of information to build a file to be able to just submit a loan. Right? You got to price everything out. Your pipeline follow-up, calling all your clients to find out whether they're, you know, found a home where they need to get pre-qualified, submitting them in, giving them status updates of where they are in the loan process. You know, birthday and loan anniversaries, fires, right? You know, which is a huge one. We firefight all day long. That's what we do in sales. Chris, you had a good analogy for that. What was it that you had said before?
On what now?
On the fire.
Oh yeah. So, I just a little plug for myself. I've been doing what's formerly known as SFA that turned into CRM for many, many years. And it's always really big on, you know, if it's not in your calendar, it doesn't exist, right? So there's a lot of guys out there. We have a lot of clients that are really focused on really dialing in their calendar. But what I never see on the calendar is fires, putting out fires. Yep. And so it's just things that pop up. And so you can't plan for those. You can't schedule them. They're going to happen. So you have to allot time for them.
Yeah, I love that. I love that analogy of you don't schedule fires. They're not on your calendar, but nobody accounts for it. And that's why things fall behind, which is this so exciting of what we're about to show everyone, why automation and efficiencies are so important, wrapped with intelligence, right? The way it gets delivered. So real quick, everyone that's listening, let us know that you're listening. How many hours a day are your loan officers working on average? And if you are the producer, how many hours a day are you working on average? Put it in chat. Let everyone see that this isn't just a made up number. 14-hour days are not unusual in this industry. Okay. Especially when there's fires to put out, right?
I mean, the average salesperson is probably working less than 1.5 hours a day on actual sales prospecting activities. Right, they're stuck in their files. They're, you know, doing administrative work and processing work and fighting fires. Right, yes. Looking at guidelines. I mean, there's so many things on here that we don't even have that they need to do during the course of a day. That it's silly. I mean, you know, the most precious resource we have is not money; it's time.
Yes.
More specifically, the ability to gift our time to ourselves and to others, and in a manner in which allows us to maximize enjoyment for life, right? Of course, just like money, how much time, how much you spend your time is critically important.
Yes. Yeah. Maximizing time is key. And this is why, go ahead, Larry, you had something else?
Yeah, no. I was just going to say, you know, like the amount of effort that needs to get put in is you show it here. I mean, it's ridiculously a large amount of time for a loan officer to have to do what they need to do, right?
Yes, and here's the thing: the best and most successful are going to be the ones that maximize their time. And this brings us to the next slide, right? So here's the challenge, right? So that was the pain. Here's the challenge: what should an LO focus their time on? And so this is something that Larry and Annie Mac and the Annie Mac team have put together. This is the way they see it. Okay, this is their vision. So Larry, if you could talk about what this means for everyone that's here, what does this mean?
So what I was trying to show is like loan officers need to spend their time in what they do best, which is sales, right? Prospecting, calling on new agents, not doing all of the administrative work that really is associated with non-money making activities. Right?
Right. I love that. Yeah.
You have to be at your highest and best use at all times, right? So if you're focused on just the prospecting piece of what you need to do as a loan originator, even that by itself is very overwhelming, right? In order to close 12 loans a month, which is not even close to the national average, right? The national average is we're looking at what, 2?
Yep. We're gonna talk about that in a couple of slides, actually.
Yeah, right. So I mean, we're in order to be a high producing loan originator, you need systems and things that are in place to really get you to that next level. So even with a normal call cadence, like I'm showing here on screen, you have probably 300 leads or contacts that you really need to make every single month, right? Of those 300, you might get in touch with 80%, right? Which is a high average. That's with a loan officer making 100 calls a day, right? Which is also not the case majority of the time. But I'm going to put on rose-colored glasses and show it. But out of that, you have 60 left that you have to contact. Now you have 120 still on the fence that you need to go back and follow up with. Of those that are interested, maybe 50% are actually show a level of interest now. So that leaves you 48 left to pull credit on, right? So you're pulling credit on 48 and you have 48 left that you still need to follow up with. And then, what were your submission rates to get to that 12, to get to 12 fundings a month? That gives you 96 calls to your buyer's agent and your clients, 25 leads that didn't qualify that still need nurturing, 29 leads that still need to be disclosed or get disclosures back, and then another 54 calls to buyer's agent, listing agent, and on the ones that are funded for your thank yous and everything else that you need to do, right? So even with that, even that by itself is a daunting task for a loan officer. So how do you get to the next level as a LO when you're treading water all the time?
And so here's the thing. So let's remember this, because we're going to come back to this slide. Everyone understands. So this is the challenge: how to maximize time. How do you get this to be a focus for your loan officers? To get to 12, you got to do all this. But look, we know, right? And Larry just made mention to this: 100 calls a day, right? A loan officer should be making 100 calls a day. Do they have the time to do that? Well, if the national average for an LO to close to close deals is 2, are they really making 100 calls a day? By the way, guys, comment in the comment and in the chat, how many calls do you think your loan officers are making? How many calls do you expect them to make, right? What do you want them to make compared to what they are making? Give us a little ratio. 100 calls should get you to this point here, right? To getting 12 deals about, right? But are they making 100 calls? Why is the national average so low, right? But here's what's interesting. This is important. This is how Annie Mac looks at their business, okay? Annie Mac has a challenge they set for themselves, okay? And they say, hey, how do we get our LOs to do 8 deals per month consistently? Not have a good month and then have a low month, right? And I see a lot of people chiming in here, so maybe we have some good. Maybe just point out what's saying. Calls per day. Somebody said 50. That's awesome. So look, it's important to understand that for Larry and the Annie Mac team, they realize something very important. Time is elusive. And so if you don't get the important things done and you focus on revenue producing tasks, you're going to lose that precious thing that's called time. And you're not going to know it. And at the end of the month, you're going to be like, why did I only get 2 deals done? And maybe right now in this environment, even those average producers are doing 3 or 4 simply because the market's the way it is. But you see this number, the C word, consistently 8, consistently 8. And so remember, the challenge that Annie Mac has created is to get to 12, knowing, remember that thing you don't get scheduled called fires? Annie Mac knows that there's going to be fires. Annie Mac knows that there's going to be things that if we can get them to 8, we're going to shoot for 12 using our process and the way that this should be organized. But if we land on 8, it's still phenomenal. It's still 4 times. And again, wait for the success stories and our results towards the end here. To get to 4 times the national average, you're having a high producer workforce. High producing workforce does what? They enjoy coming to work. They enjoy coming in for the next challenge. They enjoy hitting the next benchmark. They enjoy knowing they can hit President's Club. They enjoy knowing that they're making money to help their families and to help their borrowers get the best possible loans because they're working with someone that's not making frantic decisions, but making educated decisions, right? That's what you build. You build a workforce, a team that appreciates you, the lender, Annie Mac, right? That appreciates what you've done for them because you've gotten them to 8, 9, 10, 12 deals per month. Okay. Again, wait for the results. It's remarkable. Let's jump into this for a second. You did the 30-day and then you escalated and escalated it to 90 days. And why did you make this jump? Why did you want to show 90 days?
So again, it's one of the things that I wanted to try to express here is everything compounds. We're looking at 1 month as a snapshot, right? But after 90 days, which is your typical closing cycle for most type of loans, now you've compounded what a loan officer needs to do every single day, right? Because now you have 900 leads, you have 720 sitting in contact, and 360 that are interested, 144 that you pulled credit on, right? So if you're a good loan officer, your time and your focus, majority of the time is on your credit pulls.
Yeah.
Right. So you're following up on people that are ready to move and ready to act. So that is it all by itself is a challenge for most loan officers, right? Keeping up a consistent contact through the 12-month cycle when somebody's out shopping for a home is a difficult thing to do, right?
Yes.
You have plenty of different things that
14 hours worth of things to do. Yeah. And here's the point Larry's making here, guys. Look, maybe I can keep myself focused and organized for the first 30 days. Remember the point of this presentation, of this conversation that we're having. How to increase your loan officer's volume by 20% in 1 day, like right away. 20% increase. How? Again, if I'm a really good loan officer for the first 30 days, I got it. I can manage 300 opportunities and blah, blah, blah. I can get through it. I'll work 14, 15-hour days. I'll get through it. But guess what? Month 2, I've doubled that. How am I supposed to follow up with all the people that were interested? How am I going to follow up with 360 people with conviction? Not like, hey, how you doing? Click. Hey, how you doing? Click. Conviction, purpose, value. Multiply that. 720 is how many people I'm supposed to contact or have successful contact rates. But by the way, it's really 900 people I should be reaching out to.
That's right.
It's too much for one person to manage. This is where the beauty comes in. This is where the solution comes in. Go ahead, Larry.
So what you do as a loan officer is you devalue what's in your database, right? That's a terrible thing. It's not that the leads are bad, right? So after 30, 60, 90 days, I'm going to pick on Zillow just because everyone knows them. So let's take Zillow co-branded leads. Do you find that they're valuable leads to call on, like after 30, 60, 90 days, right? But if you look at it from a marketing standpoint and you actually analyze the data, if the loan or if the consumer hasn't made a decision on day 90, they haven't moved forward, they're still just as good as they are on day 1.
Yes. I love
What is
that.
not the same is your time. You won't pick up a phone and call a 90-day-old lead. I guarantee majority of you would only call them 3 times, right? And then if you don't get the low-hanging fruit, you're done. right? You wash your hands of that lead. And, you know, that's really the challenge. The challenge is, right? I think we probably beat that to death. So let's move on to the solution.
Yeah, no, but I think it's really important, and I'm going to jump to this slide because this is a fun slide, and I want to talk about this, but I want to make sure everyone understands what Larry just said. He said, hey, most producers, and maybe even most organizations. So look, if you're a team leader, if you're an owner of a company, if you're a manager, or if you're a producer and you're listening to this, check this out. That 90-day lead that didn't move forward is just as good as day one if you can bring it to the surface and you can get a response from that borrower. Think about that. If you can get a response from that borrower on the 90th day, since it's that age and they haven't moved forward, it's just as good as day one. But we feel that leads are like fruits, right? Because we always say low-hanging fruit. And what happens to a fruit that fell on the ground 90 days ago? It's dirty, it's grungy, it's eaten up, it's just a core maybe is left. It's not in this world. Not if you properly manage your pipeline and your database, and there's intelligence, and there's a process, and there's automation, which we're about to show you. Here comes the gold, right? Here's how we turn gold mines and gold dust into gold bars, right? We're going to see the results of this, but here's the process. So check this out. Why do you see the matrix as a slide here? Because when you plug into the matrix, just like when you plug into a system that Annie Mac has built and the solutions they built, you get plugged into a universe of information, right? You guys remember that scene? Everyone that's listening, remember that scene where Neo is plugged into the matrix for the first time and Morpheus comes over to him and Neo looks at him and goes, I know Kung Fu, right? He just got plugged in. Exactly. He just got plugged in. He's like, I know Kung Fu. And he's like, show me, right? And so that's what happens. When you get to Annie Mac, they plug you in and all of a sudden you become superhuman. You don't have to contact 900 people. You have to contact the money. That 144, that's closer to the money that you should be really focusing on. The rest, you know what, Annie, and we're going to talk about this in just a second. They drive you to the people that the human has to focus on. But until then, it's a machine. It's a system. So Larry, take us through the slide. This is where the real meat is of this conversation. So share with us what we're looking at here.
Yeah. So, you know, our leadership at Annie Mac is second to none, right? We focus all of our attention on loan officers and our processes. We're a very sales-centric organization, right? So we stop trying to tell them what they need to do, right? Like, you know, we know what you need to do, but they don't have the time, you know, based on everything that they need to do. So we took it upon ourselves and our marketing department. Our team has really changed the game for a loan originator. You know, when they come on board at Annie Mac, we set up everything for them, right? We want to try to keep loan officers highest and best use in sales, not in trying to figure out how to work a CRM, how to do marketing, how to do this, how to do that. We focus it all on us, right? So, you know, those of you that are listening out there, you know, an enterprise level solution for a CRM is imperative to the success of any type of campaign like that.
Love that.
Our leadership has put a capital investment into its people, the marketing team, you know, and it has paid off in such a great way, you know. So we stopped allowing outside CRMs, right? Because how can I set up a marketing campaign for another originator when they already have a different marketing campaign maybe going out of their system? And then you lose the consistency, right? When you're a coach and you have your playbook and you send your team out with that playbook, somebody's calling calls every 2 minutes. You're not going to have success. We set up our workflows and our programs, you know, with that same mentality, and we use it. We set up all of those on the backs of high producing originators, right? People in our organization that are doing 30 units a month, right? How do they do it? And we looked and analyzed that type of thing and came up with an amazing system, right?
Can we pause there for a second? I think there's some things to unpack and some things to sort of dive in on and put under the microscope for just a second.
Go for it.
So first of all, everyone that's listening, I think this strategy is one of the biggest reasons for your success? First of all, you have Chris and MIQ that's tailored you guys up. You look nice in your fresh suit that fits you guys. I love it. That's number one takeaway. Make sure what you have fits your needs. Number two, don't have 18 different platforms. You can't have 18 different playbooks, right? When you made a great point. When you're a coach, you have one playbook. If you have 3 playbooks, people come out and you call an audible because an audible has to be called. Everyone's running their own direction. You're like, no, what are you doing? And he's like, no, I read a different playbook. I don't read this playbook. And it's a mess. And so what Larry is saying, focus on scaling your business. And the only way to scale is to put everyone through the same program and get everyone reading from the same playbook. So I wanted to make sure that we highlight that because that's so important, because we know how originators can dictate technology inside the organization. And if you can find a way to make it work that way, great. But I've seen time and time again, the more platforms, the more trouble, the more configuration issues. Now, look, Larry, let me ask you this. I wonder if anyone's going to ask this question. If they don't, I'm going to ask it for them. How do you feel about me, an originator, using the platform that you're giving me with MIQ? But let's say I've been in the business for 15 years, right? And I've been doing this for a long time. And I have my own little system where I keep my stuff. Can I bring that with me? Can I say, I want to use your CRM and your system, your automation, but I'm just really used to working out of my platform too. How do you guys feel about that?
Oh my God, yeah. That's day one, right? It's in our onboarding process. We are pounding everyone for their past client database, right? You have to, as an originator or a branch manager or an owner of a company, your database is everything. It is your gold mine, right? Every if you have 300 people in your past client database, that equates to about 3 loans a month, about $6,000 in income, $72,000 a year. 72,000 divided by 300 people in your database is $240 per person that's in your database.
Wow, I love that.
Right? So, not to even talk, not to even add what Sales Boomerang does for that past client database, right?
Yeah.
So the Sales Boomerang piece of this is an amazing, it's been an amazing tool for our organization. So, Sales Boom has a lot of different watch types. It wasn't necessarily, I'll tell the story. It wasn't necessarily popular when we first met in 2018. Right?
Yeah.
We were in a rising rate environment, and we were talking about our rate watch program that you guys offer, and we're like, well, I don't know if this is really going to work out. Do we really need this program? Come April of 2019, rates hit the toilet, and guess what? We were sitting with Rate Watch already installed in our database, and we're able to take advantage of those tools for our organization on day one. When we met, our goal as an organization, right, was $2 billion worth of lead volume. That's really what we were looking to get to. I was like, okay, if I can get that brought into the organization, I'm going to be a hero. I'm hoping for 4. So, at that point, they throw me on their shoulders and run us around the room. We were excited about that. Come fast forward, 14 months later, I think it's that we've been with you. I think we have $1.8 billion in loan volume sitting in our system from Sales Boomerang.
And just 18 billion altogether, 1.8 just from the last quarter. Yeah, and we're going to look at those numbers in just a minute. So it was almost 20 billion is from our start on a bet of 2 billion, right? So that's fantastic. But again, and thank you for sharing that. We're going to go into that story too a little bit later.
Sure.
It was important for me to stop and go into that piece about focusing on one system, MIQ, and then plugging everything into that system and making everyone play from the same playbook, which is how you're able to produce the results you guys are producing. So
So another thing, if you're out there in the open mortgage world, you have mortgage coaches that are all telling you different things, like go get this system, go get this system, go get this system, go get this system, and you have loan officers, some branches, some organizations spending $800 a month in in disparate technologies. They're moving data from one system to another because none of them are technical.
Yeah.
Right? The technical piece is very difficult. So now you're trying to download information, upload, again, spending more time on
non-revenue
producing work, right?
Yep.
So we took it and built everything into our Mortgage IQ platform. We integrate to any one of our vendors, right? So we sign up vendors for life. We don't necessarily just plug people in and out. So we do integrations into pretty much everyone, and those integrations enable us to do more with less. I mean, it really is what it comes down to. And,
yes.
and we're going to touch on some of the programs that we developed out of that, but having that enterprise level from the top down,
yes,
campaign structure allows for compliance. It allows for being able to set up, we have so many different types of marketing campaigns, whether you're reno, VA, purchase, refinance, all of our things start and stop as we go through the loan process, right? It just automatically.
And this is perfect transition to this next slide. Everyone on the call, pay attention. This slide here is one of the most important things that we're going to talk about today. This is where MIQ, Sales Boomerang, and Annie Mac get married and produce a 1 + 1 = 3 result, right? Instead of your basic math, and who cares if I get 1 + 1 = 2, that's not that fun. But when I can do a compound effect here, watch this. And I'm gonna zoom in here so you guys can see this. This is Sales Boomerang, okay? And MIQ working together, and look at what happens. I'm gonna zoom in here. This is what happens automatically. Larry, you can walk us through this. There is an alert of someone, let's say this is an alert. We're talking about Market Watch, Mortgage Inquiry Watch. Someone just inquired about a mortgage. This is what happens. Tell us what this day one means: text, voicemail, email, live call. What does that mean?
So let me just take one step back before I get into that. So one of the challenges that we're able to solve here at Annie Mac with Sales Boomerang, of course, again, is time, right? The database, working your database as a loan officer is uber important, right? You need to be looking at your past clients all the time, trying to figure out where they are. And the reality of the situation is you would have to call every single loan you've ever funded in order to figure out if there were a mortgage related event happening in their lives, right? That is again a daunting task. Mm-hmm. So the bringing Sales Boomerang into our world changed the game, right? Bringing in leads and identifying what type of mortgage-related event was going on in our consumers' lives, and automating that whole entire process. No longer do you have to try to figure out, okay, today's rate, who's over 6 months. Okay, here's the people that I need to go after. That all by itself is an hour.
Yep.
Right? Then you're getting on the phone. So who's got time for that? Nobody's got time for that. But you need to do it. I mean, it's the reality of the situation. So the only way you're going to get business. So we were building different types of building blocks within Mortgage IQ over time. We added slide broadcast, which is a voicemail, automatic voicemail system. We added text messaging. So we had an automatic text messaging. We assigned marketing numbers to all of our staff, right? So that we could actually track on a very finite level whether somebody called, whether somebody replied to a text message. So all that integration kind of all married together into this. So we took it to a whole nother level, right? Yes. So again, from a enterprise level, if your salespeople are not going to be calling the low-hanging fruit leads that we're bringing in from their
own database,
from their own database,
yep,
right? You're leaving a significant amount of money on the table. And we're just wasting marketing dollars, and that's not good for anyone, right? It's not good for anyone. So how do we automate that process and make that a part of our salesperson's life? So not only are we identifying those opportunities, we're bringing those back into MIQ from Sales Boomerang, but now we're launching marketing campaigns that are going to go out consistently over time, right? If a loan officer gets tired at day 90 and doesn't want to call a lead, our system is going out through day 180, right? And it's going to give you that consistent follow-up that everyone needs to have, right? If they're not doing business with you after day 180, you know, God bless, you know, see you later. But you know, the
cheers and move on.
Yeah, right. So we're setting up the automation so that our loan officers only need to deal with hand raisers.
Yes. Listen to that, guys.
And we're auto selling as the loan officer in the transaction. The voicemails are recorded by the LO. The text message come out from the LO. The emails come out from the LO, right? Live call, they have to make the live call. That's, you know, that's it. But we have video messaging, automatic calendar booking times that are built into our infrastructure. So, you know, when hardest thing to do is negotiate time with a consumer, saying, hey, when's the best time for us to call? We're sending them a link to their calendar automatically as a part of a text message, right? Just the simple things,
Really?
guys. Simple communication and the way people want to be talked to. And, you know, this system has bared more fruit than, which we'll get into that. We'll get into some of that fruit later.
We can't wait to share our fruit with you guys.
Yeah, we can't wait to share the fruit.
But so here's the thing. Here's what you're looking at, and this is important. And then Larry just went over this: text, voicemail, email. Look, day 2. This is a plan. This is what happens. This is how they scale their team. This is how they make everyone a top producer. Day 1, day 2, day 3, voicemail, email. Day 5, we do it all over again. 10, 15, 30, 45. Day 90, guess what? Refresh the campaign. We're doing it again for another 90 days. And like Larry said, if this person isn't ready to talk to you and isn't ready to be your customer after that day, then they're just not a great fit for the company, and that's okay. But remember this, with having borrower intelligence like a Sales Boomerang sitting in the background, if that person ever goes back to the market, if that person ever lists their home for sale, if they ever have an event, guess what happens? Zoop, day 1 begins all over again.
That's right.
And it's right back to it. We're right back to those conversations. We're right back to bringing them to a hand raiser, and it is fully automated. So nothing is wrong.
This works as an automated assistant pretty much for every loan officer, right? So even if you're a low producing loan officer, I mean, we have scalability as that, you know, in our organization, you get to a certain level, you get an LP, right? You know, past 6 loans, we give you an assistant. Past 12 loans, we give you 2 assistants. Past 18 loans, we give you 3 assistants.
Yeah.
Right, that help you, you know, manage this stuff. But when you're, every LO has the same opportunity in our organization to be able to take advantage of these, and it's amazing. Or, you know, like our team killed it. You know, it hands down, every single, you know, if you're a realtor referral, if you're a VA lead or an internet lead, a boomtown lead, we're able to take all of those in and figure out a campaign. We have campaigns designed for every single type of those loans, and the system automatically figures out where it needs to go, puts it in the right campaign, blasts it out, and we're speaking to each audience differently. So a rate watch, a market watch, a Zillow lead, a you know, boomtown lead. We're talking to all of them differently, right? And we have things that are set up exactly for each one of them. So, you know, but it makes short work of the different Sales Boomerang type of leads that we have in there. It's really an amazing thing.
So here's what's interesting, right? Again, we just talked about the pain, right? 14-hour workdays. Then what should they focus their time on? What should our team be focusing their time on? Oh, the important things that you need to focus your time on is only a small percentage of all the other things you should be doing. But you as an organization, and Annie Mac knows this, you as an organization should be saying, you focus on this because this is where the hand raisers are. Let us figure out the rest for you, right? Because you can't make 900 phone calls. You just won't have the time to. And if you do, you're going to do a bad job with it. So let us automate this for you. And how do you automate? Well, Chris, let's bring in Chris from MIQ and talk about the technology that you've built, how you've been able to make it so tailored, and really talk about how you support this mission that Annie Mac has.
Yeah, thanks, Alex. So I'm real big on analogies, as those that know me know about me. So what I think about, Alex and Larry, when we first launched this trio of technologies, the biggest problem was what? Too many leads coming in. Remember, Alex? It was like, we got so many leads coming in. And so the analogy is, okay, we got the tree shaken, right? The fruit's falling to the ground.
Yep.
But okay, now LO, go pick up the fruit and you know, follow up with that lead, you know, peel it off, that sort of thing. So we had to go from the only way to make this successful was to automate that low-hanging fruit falling off that shaken tree, right? So that was going to be the home run, and that's exactly what we've done. So I look at it that way. So we're totally automated. So I guess the other analogy would be, if you're an LO, even if you have Sales Boomerang, if you don't have a system, you got a lot of fruit on the ground, right? So you got to have the system, and that's exactly what we've worked on over the last few years, is having that system in place to do that. And that's really about the triggers that are going to shake the tree. It's about the workflow, and like in Larry's, the tracks and campaigns that he's doing, when he sends those text messages out that are, by the way, everything's going out from the LO. It's all completely personalized and looks like the LO just sent it, right? You guys got to understand that. Emails, text messages, recorded voicemails, those are in the voice of the LO going out to the borrower. So the borrower thinks it's very personal. Larry's team's done a great job of making it relevant because they have very specific campaign and tracks that are going out. What's the other big thing? The ability to track responses, right? So when people are responding, let's say someone is responding, what's the biggest pet peeve you have on people that market you, right? They keep marketing you and you're responding, I'm interested, and they keep marketing you. Do you want to buy? Do you want to buy? It's kind of insulting, right? Yeah. Like, wait a minute, I already responded. I already replied via text that I'm interested, call me, and you continue to send these emails. If you can't trust the lender to send an email or respond to a text, how are you going to trust them with your loan, right? So that's all in place. We have the ability of responding in an instant. So when someone responds with a text or even they call in or whatever it might be, we can automatically what's called kill that track and either stop sending them that information or put them in another track that's more relevant now to where they're at based on their status, the input from the LO, their dispositioning, all the things that go with that, right? So you've got to be able to get that, shake the tree, get the fruit picked up, put it into a track, and get that out there in a relevant way, and then automate everything. It's got to be a machine. And okay, my last analogy, and I'll stop. You're going to go from being a biplane. Does anybody remember what a biplane is?
No, we were all in diapers, remember?
Right. Oh, that's right. You're done. So the biplane is, the two-winged plane that did all the tricks.
Snoopy and
World War I and all that, right? Okay, we're going to take you from a biplane to an F-35 with a drone, because some days you don't feel like flying the F-35 by yourself. You still are going to have that drone out there targeting borrowers, right?
Yes.
I mean, that's a good visual, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a perfect analogy. Who wants a biplane? I thought maybe you were going to do the Wright brothers where they were trying to flap their. We'll take you from flapping your hands to some kind of.
Yeah.
But listen, let's unpack this a little bit. What you said, Chris. I think this is very important. So what Chris has mentioned is this, right? So all of a sudden we turn on Sales Boomerang, and remember what Larry said. And you're going to see these numbers in a second. Larry said, "Hey, if we can do $2 billion in lead opportunities, we're gonna be doing well." Well, we're up to 18 billion. I think 2 billion was hit in like 3 months, right, in opportunities.
Yes.
And so how do you now that you know the system is really going to produce something, how do you now sift through it? Well, you need a great partner and a great system, because Chris is absolutely right. Remember, the people that are going to look back at this time, there are going to be two narratives. Okay, we talked about this. There are going to be two narratives. Narrative number one, we took full advantage of the time during 2020 and the huge boom, and we squeezed every opportunity out because we maximized time and we prioritized our deals. That's narrative number one. That's what I wish for everyone on this call. Narrative number two, which we're probably going to see a lot of also, is, oh my goodness, we dropped the ball. We did well, but we had a bunch of EPOs. We had a bunch of deals we didn't close in time. We had a bunch of things we missed. We were too busy. We didn't maximize time. We spent time talking to the wrong people because we thought they were right, but we didn't know they were right. And we wasted time, and we could have done so much better. I wish we would have done something else. That's narrative number two, and I hope nobody on this call says that. But it's going to happen. Speaking
of narrative number one, I would just, not to rub salt in the wound for people that are in narrative number two.
Yeah.
But in narrative number one, I I think it was last month or the prior month, I contacted somebody on your team, or, Julia, or rep. And I said, I need to trigger all of my rate watch that have already triggered, because rates are now at a low that we couldn't even fathom 6 months ago.
Right.
So we set up a trigger, and I think we got 25,000 leads within a matter of a day, 24 hours. And then when you have the
From your database
behind it selling for you, you'll understand why our June was as good as it was.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that's a great point. But this is exactly what Chris was getting to. He supercharges your systems, right? He gives everyone an LOA without having a physical LOA, right? All of these systems that you create, Chris, for Annie Mac creates this sort of support, right? And so sticking on this response monitoring concept, right? Some of the things you mentioned were smart campaigns and multi-touch points. So real quick, if you could, for just a moment, for everyone on here, how important is it to be able to customize the experience at the borrower level and at LO level? Here's what I mean by that. Larry mentioned earlier that a text message has a calendar link in it. How much utilization does a tool like that have? Do you see crazy amounts of response with that?
Yeah, I don't know. Larry can speak to the numbers on it, but to your point, it's just as important. This system is just as important equally in terms of managing the relationship and the communication for the borrower and the LO, because it can be extremely efficient on both sides. The borrower doesn't want to respond to the email. They want to respond via text. So they send a text. Great, I can do that. Awesome. The LO doesn't want to have to track the text and what happened. They're going to get an email that lets them know you received a text, and they see it on all their dashboards in the UI. It's every place. They absolutely cannot miss it. And even if they miss it, the system's smart enough to kill that track, like I said, and do the next thing, right? So it's literally an autopilot to the nth degree for the LO. It's a beautiful thing.
And that was super important. I am listen, I'm doing marketing for my loan officers. The last thing I want to do is make them look foolish, right? And it's always something I regard very high. Everyone on my team does. We don't want people to look bad. And as Chris mentioned, if you're not shutting those campaigns off automatically, you're doing a disservice to your clients, right? Our clients come first.
Yes.
It's something no borrower left behind, baby.
That's it. That's what I'm talking about. So look, let's look at the results. Remember, we're all living on a gold mine, but you can see gold bricks. And to turn gold bricks, to create gold bricks, you need to actually find the right way to mine that gold and turn all those little pieces of gold into gold bricks. And here's the results from this. So check this out. We're going to go faster through this so we can get to the success stories, but this is so valuable and so important. So real quick, take a minute or two on this, Larry. Explain to everyone what they're looking at here. This is the results from this automation and this intelligence that Annie Mac has rolled out.
Right. So before we rolled out the platform, you'll see the 55%. Now that's the only number you want to see go down, right? So if you look at the untouched leads in stage one here, if you go to the after, we were able to take all 55% of the leads that were in that database and move them down the funnel. Yep. You can see the tidal wave in the after of all the things that we moved from untouched leads and moved it down the funnel. I mean, we're throwing stuff down the funnel at this point.
Yeah, that's the fruit on the ground on the left there, Larry. 55% fruit on the ground, right?
Yeah, you got it. And the ground is the bottom of the funnel, right? So
yeah.
Stage two, attempting contact, we took from 7% to 15%. Contacted, right? Again, this is a contact sport. We took all of those leads into 25% contact rate.
3xing that, 3xing this one.
Yep. Credit pull, have taken to 4%.
Double.
Process, we have 40%.
Nearly doubled their number.
Yeah, phenomenal.
Process.
Yeah. And then funded 8%.
Amazing. Amazing. This is what happens with automation and intelligence and a team that believes in their team, which is Larry and the marketing team and the corporate structure. They believe in you. That's why this is happening, right? They believe in the process. which I think is important. Let's jump into this and then go into the success stories.
Sure
So
thing.
a real quick shout out here. This is what we were talking about. Since we've started working together, you've been able to track about $18 billion in opportunities. Over 100,000 opportunities from your own database has been delivered to you. Now, I know this funded number you said is about half of what it really is.
Yeah. So listen, I have to prep this. Our sales folks are just like everyone else. We're not perfect. We're not a perfect marketing department. I would love to say we are, but I hate those guys when they're on webinars. Like they all act perfect now. We can't get everything. We can't track everything. It's just one of those things. When you're a loan originator and you get a sales boom alert come in, you move forward with the file that you already have in the system, right? It just doesn't make sense to create a new lead and go through all the whole loan process that we already showed a second time. So they just take those loans and fund them, right? So we're working on a new integration with Sales Boomerang and with the help of MIQ to automatically mark those files. If a Sales Boomerang lead comes in and a file moves forward that was stalled, it will automatically take it and update the lead source properly. So, if we had this 12 months from now, these numbers would look a lot different. But I can tell you that it's probably double, if not triple, the amount that we're showing here.
Fantastic. And look, and this is what we were talking about too, the lead volume, right? For the first quarter, it's been $1.9 billion in lead volume from your database. So let's jump into the success story. So this is all part of the success, right? The results, but let's really hear it from the LOs. This is real stories from your loan officers at your company. Last month, you have one LO that did $8.9 million, 33 units. And his message was, for those of you that are listening and looking at other screens, let's read this out loud in case you're not reading this. I had 80, this is a quote, I had 80 units submitted and almost half of them were from the Funnel, IQ, and SB program. Think about that. Half of their business came from the Funnel, IQ, and the Sales Boomerang notifications.
Now I want to prep this. This is not a branch. This is one individual in our organization. Now he's a stud, don't get me wrong. Like he's a killer when it comes to loans, but
apparently
it's an impressive number, like 33 units. Like when he called me, I literally called my whole entire team and was like, you got to hear this. You got to hear what he just told me. We want to see things that we build work.
I know.
And you dream about what it could be one day.
Right. This is the dream right here, man.
Fruition, like you're proud. It gives me the chill. I mean, literally, because of what we're able to accomplish and how deep we move the needle for our loan officers. Just never think that I would ever get to that level.
That's a life-changing month, right? That month alone can change somebody's zip code, right? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? And look, he's not the only one. Here's another one, right? So again, I will read this out loud just in case somebody's looking at another screen and doesn't think, they have a chance to kind of look and do what they're doing, which is fine. We totally understand how webinars work. So this person did $5.8 million, 24 units. This is last month. And this was their message. In 3 weeks, Annie Mac generated 4.5 million in new volume, and that I was not expecting. 4.5 million in new volume that I was not expecting. His number is 5.8. Okay, 4.5 that he wasn't expecting. He was only looking to do 1.4. He added 4.5 million. Like, I would be buying Larry lots of dinners and saying thank you and whatever you want. You're my guy. Whatever you want, I'm getting for you, right?
I told him, I said, listen, you need to buy me a beer at the sales rally, and then until I realized it was open bar, it doesn't matter.
And he said, no problem. You're getting that beer anyway. No, tell him to buy you that 25-year Macallan.
Yeah, there you go.
That's what
there you go.
So look, it's amazing to add not an extra million in volume, but $4 million extra in volume, 4.5 in this particular case. But you're hearing this across the board. And then finally, this is a really cool story. I'm going to let Larry share this story again. For those of you that are not seeing the screen but are listening, this is a really cool story, worth checking out the screen actually, if you can. Larry, why don't you take them through this?
Sure. So, what we're trying to show here, one of our loan originators or branch managers actually sent an email to us saying, listen, I didn't know who this guy was. I've never spoken to this gentleman a day in my life. I had come to AnyMac, I'd uploaded my past client database into the system. A Sales Boomerang alert was triggered, right, in February 2020. February 26th, the Funnel IQ campaign was kicking in and getting attention. So the client responded, hey, you responded to a text message that said, is text better way to communicate? And he responded yes. But we had gotten his attention by a few emails and a few slide broadcasts that had went out prior. So he knew who the loan officer was when he got the text message. Then same day, partial application, credit pulled on the 27th. We closed the loan on March 13th, 2020, during COVID, at a McDonald's, because that's in the guy's car, that's where he wanted to close. And was able to make a loan out of nothing, right? Our loan officer didn't even know who he was, didn't remember the client at all. So the reason I bring this up is because database building is super amazing for your loan officers. And if you're a loan officer, you want to get your realtor's database, you want to maintain your own database and put them into your CRM or in your Sales Boomerang platform, right? We have one of our loan officers, I could go on with success stories all day long, but I have one of my loan officers in Colorado uploaded 10,000 leads when he came on board here, right? Things that didn't even belong to him. Might as well have been the phone book, right? We had them in our system. He triggered over 3,000 Sales Boomerang leads within the first few months of him being here.
It's an instant pipeline.
Right? Yeah, instant pipeline. So you're better able to serve your agents. You're able to find opportunities that may exist for empty nesters, equity, all the stuff that that's available out there, from the Sales Boomerang program. You take them, you pre-qual them, let us do what we do, right? Give us your database. We're going to launch this amazing technology. We're going to get in contact with all these folks. And then, boom.
Then you have the MIQ system that automates and makes it special for each borrower because of their response. If they it's so brilliant. And look, and this is why you guys have had the success you've had. Look at this. Look at these numbers. It's, first of all, this is real numbers, everyone. If you're not looking at the screen, again, check out the screen because this is crazy numbers, right? This is June. 4x the national average per LO. Understand that this is the per LO average inside AnyMac. 8.4 funded deals per loan officer.
Per loan officer. So I can't take credit for a low rate environment. Let's call a spade here. But what I can take credit for is having the system, the tools, the strategy, and the marketing campaigns in place when the perfect storm hit.
Yeah.
Right? And that's kind of the key. So
that's your narrative. Your narrative is number one. The storm hit and you were prepared. The ones that aren't prepared, they can't maximize time, that don't have automation, that don't have intelligence, they're chasing every lead. Because you know what? The phone's not stopping to ring today. Everyone is calling, and you're all excited taking those calls. And this is what one of my mentors used to say, right? You could end up dancing with the wrong girl, meaning you could miss your wife walking by you because you're dancing with the wrong girl, and the person that you should be talking to and helping right now walks past you. And so this is so relevant. I love that presentation where you showed 90 days down the road and it's 900 people you should be checking out. Who has time to do that? You can't. You need a robot. You need a system. You need something to help you, and you need to understand that your company has your back, right? And that's what you guys have been able to do. That's the investment you've made in yourselves and your company, and the investment you've made in your loan officers, because they know, think about LO retention, LO recruitment. Who's leaving when they know the system is going to give them a chance to do 8 deals? Who's going somewhere?
So for June, which is an amazing month, and July is going to be way, way higher. August is even looking better, but check this out, crazy numbers. We had 50 LOs do over 10 units. We had 25 LOs do over 15 units, 13 LOs over 20 units, and 5 over 30 units. We had 1 over 40 units, a loan officer. that's what some branches strive to be.
Yes. Yes. It's amazing. And
Yeah.
it's because you've been able to maximize their time and let them focus on the hand raisers and not chase things that are going to lead to a dead end. And when you run after something and hit a dead end, it's demoralizing. It's just depleting. And you know you got to come back and do another 14 hours. You know you got to do that the next day. But you can do it with a pep in your step, or you can do it through tears and through headaches and
Right.
unnecessary drinks, not celebratory drinks like we're doing today, but unnecessary painful drinks. And so, look, this brings us to the end of our conversation of what we have to show. We're going to answer some questions for people. I know we have Steve and Richard in the background that can tee up some of the questions. This was excellent. By the way, I've done a lot of webinars, as you guys know. The attendance and the attention from the audience, we love you guys. This is the best attention we've seen from an audience. And I've done webinars, 2 or 3 a month. Beautiful attention, guys. So thank you for the audience for being attentive, being here and participating and listening to everything that's been said. That's a testament to you, Chris, that's to you, Larry, having information to share that's really relevant and resonating with people. So let's see if we have any good questions. It looks like, what do we have? So now, Richard, did you text me this so I can read it out loud to everyone? Is that why you did this? What was the LO's top units per month before IQ and SB rolled out? Great question. So what was a top producer doing before all of this happened?
We've had a migration in what we're doing by putting different systems in place, right? Coaching in-house, right? We use 20/20 vision. We use the right type of people inside to help make our loan officers do more with less. We chopped out a lot of the lower producing loan officers, and we were able to go, I think before all of this hit, I think we were somewhere right around 6.2, if my memory serves me properly. Right now we're at 8. So, again, low rate environment. I think we'll continue to probably average on 6, but you got to keep in mind that that a top producer is a majority of our loan officers are top producers at this point, right? Yeah. Because 1 to 2 is the average, So like we find that our loan officers almost double their production joining Annie Mac within the first 12 to 18 months.
Fantastic. Double production when joining Annie Mac and 20% growth pretty much overnight. So I love that. So anyone else want to throw in some more questions? I know we're at the end. We had a lot of comments, but I want to make sure that we're already 6 minutes over what we had allotted for this. And I don't want to jump into any extra dialogue unless somebody has some real big questions that we can share with everyone. There were some little comments here and there. Oh, one more question that Richard said is worth mentioning. Go ahead, Richard. Let's either you can ask it or you can text it to me, however you want to do it. Okay, so the question is, let's say I have a client who decided to rent for a year. Does this program have the ability for me to create a voicemail or a video right now that I can set to be sent to them in 9 months? Ooh, go ahead, Chris.
That's easy peasy, man. The short answer to that question is, I know I'm not going out on a limb because we have the technology to do really any scenario you can dream up. So guys, as long as we have the data in the database, so in your example, a note that he's renting, whatever the data is, we can plug that in to any and all communications, and it would be completely and totally automated to the nth degree, depending on how you want those communications to go. What do you want the touch points? Do you want to wait 9 months? I mean, how about a monthly drip? And how about, if they've opted in to receive, text versus email or what have you, let's mix that up a bit, maybe a little more sophisticated. How are we going to communicate to them? What are we going to say? And then, scope that out in terms of that track. And that's where Larry, has all this experience. But
we work with a lot of property management companies, and we have big renter databases that are within our Mortgage IQ platform. Again, Sales Boom helps us with opportunities, right, that are existing for for those. So if something triggers, if they're in market, you know, we're going to know about it right away. Right. So again, getting them into a platform that's integrated matters. But we have a ton of different campaigns that can go out, as Chris said, you know, monthly as a merge. We can set up drip email campaigns. So we have a whole renters drip email campaign that's going to just brand you, talk about, you know, bond programs and things like that, that, you know, down payment assistance options, things that renters want to hear. But you have to connect the dots, right? You have to build a marketing track that matches the demographic that you're really looking to go after. And that's why our team is so successful, is because we look at, you know, not just the request, but what makes the most sense organizationally. And we'll build it from the top down, and use those type of things in place.
And that's another great example that you brought up, the renters. So what's going to happen there is you got them in the track. That's great. All those automatic notifications going out. Now they call in or let someone know they just bought a house. You're going to update that disposition, or maybe we can do it through the history automatically, that they're no longer renting. Now they bought the house. We're going to kill that track for the renter and put them into the, you know, new property track or new first home track. Probably put them in the first home track, right?
Yeah, we load them all as a new prospect, which isn't a normal thing in our workflow. So when you look up the client when they're ready to move forward, and you push the loan over to Encompass and you start the loan process, our system will stop the communication, dead in its tracks, pick up the new loan transaction for that client and start that depending on where they're at in the cycle, right? Milestone videos, the whole thing, loan anniversary, birthday. You know, we have everything automated. Like we literally wipe the nose of most of our loan officers. We're trying to make sure that keep them at their highest and best use. And, you know, we have video messaging that goes out for every single milestone, right? Which we did an animated series, which we thought was cool. But that as a marketer, you know, we get a lot of great feedback from our LOs saying, hey, you know, this is great. And the clients love it. They're well informed. But as a former originator, I hate that. Like, I don't want them talking. I want them to remember me, right? You have to remember the loan officer in order for you to get repeat and referral business. So we tailored MIQ to now be able to accept video messaging that replaces our milestone videos automatically if the loan officer decides to build build their own video series. So it literally will shut off ours, turn on theirs. With them, all they have to do is drop a link in one spot.
But the cool thing is, if they don't do that, there's something going out anyway. That's valuable. Right. In case I'm not ready yet. I just joined. I didn't have a chance to really learn how to do this. It's not going flat, right? There's some activity, which I think is brilliant. Look, guys, we could talk about this. We could probably keep everyone tuned in and listening to this, because what you talk about, Larry, is so brilliant. There's a reason why you guys are our premier shop. You bring in the best of the best, and I'm not just saying that because we're part of this group, but it's literally any Mac, baby, for real. You guys are the Mac. And so thank you so much for setting this up and bringing this to our attention and organizing this and allowing us to host. And Chris, thank you so much. Your technology, your platform, you guys can see the contact information for Chris. You want tailored information, you want to find things about Chris, check him out, talk to him. Again, thank you, all of you, for your time, and everyone here will get a copy of this. If you're interested, we can get you a copy of this presentation. So thank you again, Larry. I'll talk to you soon. Chris, I'll talk to you soon. Everybody else.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
It was great to be on.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.